The next question is about describing the release strategy for Revenge of Revan demos, different parts. Originally, when I wrote the actual large plot line, which I have like a I think 34 page uh, plot structure where I have the information on the different planets, different events, as well as back information of all the major characters. That was the original one full thing, one full game. And while I worked on it, one of the things that when I designed the actual story, I designed it in a figure eight. Most games, as we know in KOTOR, and KOTOR 2, um, basically it starts off as a straight line. You go through stuff, you get to a certain point, like in KOTOR 1, you go to Dantooine, you decide to train as a Jedi. Now you get to go on this quest for these star maps, and then it concludes in the final act, and then you have the conclusion. One of the things I wanted to do is because of KOTOR 2's ending, it made it so that I really had to explain a lot of information about what's been going on, especially since the storyline takes place about 8 years after the second game. I wanted to basically, I couldn't throw you in as a Jedi or Padawan and just have you go through action scenes like in KOTOR 1 because you don't know what is the Jedi Order like. And a lot of you guys, I know, especially after KOTOR 2, are wondering what is the structure, how is the exiles, um, apprentices had, what kind of impact did they have in the New Order, if it was light side versus dark side. And these are things that I wanted to be able to ground and lay out. So when you're playing the adventure, you'll be able to know already have a foundation of what the politics and what are the conflicts within the Jedi or the Republic. What are these people dealing with? So that when you go through the adventure, I can then pull these points, plot points, and themes over and over, and you'll already know what they are, and you'll be able to feel them and reinforce them as you play through. Because of that, I had to design a larger story on that. I couldn't have you jump into a certain scene. I had to lay out everything so that it builds on each other, so you don't feel anything's rushed. Because of that, I created a figure eight, which is basically start from the starting point. You have a little bit of an intro, which is basically the demo and the game, and then you're allowed to a point where you're able to expand, like and look for the Star Forge or look for the Jedi's in the other two KOTOR games. You'll have that, and then it'll merge together to a center point, which will be at the end of Act One. There'll be a major event. After that, we'll then open up again, and you'll be able to go over planets that might be included in the first act or the first loop, as well as new ones, and then we'll conclude back to the conclusion of the full game. And because of that, it creates like kind of like a figure eight um, on there. Because I wrote it like that, it allowed me to easily cut the actual full game into two parts, two acts. By doing that, it doesn't feel awkward because I'm concluding at a major key point event, and then it leaves like a cliffhanger for you guys. By doing that, it allowed me freedom to work on focusing on just one act at a time. And I constantly write notes on what could happen in the second act as well. Now, from there, I looked at from the production, I wanted to allow you guys a demo. And one of the reasons why for the demo to occur is to allow you guys to a taste of what the game is going to involve. I want you guys to get your feet wet a little bit with it, so your feet are wet, you feel how the game's going to work, how it's going to play through. Also, it allows me to see how everything works. If I release the demo and some of you guys, or even through the beta of the demo, I can see where I might have to tweak things, where things worked better, where things didn't. Also allows me to package it on a smaller scale, and once you package it once, it's easier to replicate and package a larger one versus trying to package a huge Act 1 of 8 hours the first time. So that's the reasoning behind the demo Act 1, which is half the game, and then Act 2, which is basically going to be the full game, which will probably have a couple new tidbits to the first half of the game itself. So that's the actual release setup for the actual game.